Hello. Welcome back to Tour of the Palate, where we will be making some food and bad jokes and try to learn some stuff. Tonight is Canada. One of my favorite Canadian jokes. Do you know how to spell Canada? Canada? And there'll be some other things, silly things that I can say as well. Tonight, we are making poutine, and I have never eaten it before, let alone made it. So it'd be pretty interesting to explore. So a couple of things that I've done. Let me go ahead and show you the spread so you can see what we're working with. So we have the ingredients here. Some of this is to make the gravy. Oh, I guess before we get into any of the ingredients. Poutine is a dish that's fries, cheese curds, and gravy. And you typically will have a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I hear different pronunciations of it all the time, but this is the bottle, so you can decide for yourself. Just a little bit of that, and yeah, so it's onion or shallots, garlic, some ketchup, random other stuff that you mix in to make the gravy, some stock, a little bit of flour to make roux. It's all gonna be really good, and I'm excited to try. So the fries, I did soak them, so I'll go ahead and show you the ingredients now. So these are the cheese curds right over here. I just did cheddar cheese. That's the standard. You can use other kinds, but that's apparently protocol. And then we have some flour and shallots, garlic. I finely chopped those. Thyme, I did not get fresh thyme. I could not find any at the store, so that's jar. A little bit of the Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, stock, and then a little bit of white vinegar and butter. Here are the fries. So I soaked them in a bowl of cold water in the fridge for about 12 hours, which helps pull some of the starch out, because anytime you're frying anything, you always want to make sure that you get some of those sugars out so that they crisp up when you fry them in the oil. So good stuff there. I'm going to be using peanut oil to fry the fries. You can use vegetable oil, whatever oil makes sense. But the first thing we're going to do is make the gravy. So gravy time. Just go ahead and turn this heat on to about medium heat, and I'm going to drop the butter in. Like so. And we have this tray for when the fries are done, because I'm going to fry them in batches. So the interesting thing about this is this may be like a tip for everybody. And you can always fry fries in an air fryer. You don't need to use oil. But I like the taste and the crispiness and all those fun things that you get out of the frying oil. So I'll do that. The first fry is like a 325 degrees ish, 350, and you do it for like a couple of minutes, and then you set them aside and let them kind of dry out for a little bit, and then you refry them. So you've got like this first little go that's actually to cook them, and then the next part of it is to like crisp them up. So kind of cool, kind of neat. Yeah, fun facts. Michael J. Facts. Facts to the future. Okay, so the gravy. I'm just following a recipe that I found on New York Times Cooking. So whether this is an official recipe or not is to be determined, but it sounded consistent with other stuff that I found. So as you normally would do with a sauce or a gravy, you do aromatics first. I got my whiskers. Okay. All right, so I'm letting this butter melt, and then I'm going to throw in the shallots and the garlic and let them get a little bit aromatic. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that butter to do its thing, we can look at this. So, I looked up some facts about Canadian cooking and culinary cuisine. One thing that's important to note is Canada's culinary landscape reflects its multicultural heritage and vast geography, creating a diverse food culture with both Indigenous roots and international influence. Indigenous foundations. So Canadian cuisine begins with Indigenous peoples' contributions, which includes maple syrup, wild rice, bannock bread, and traditional preparations of game meats like venison and elk. These elements remain central to Canadian identity, with maple syrup being perhaps the most iconic Canadian ingredient worldwide. So that's kind of neat. And if you've never had authentic maple syrup, it is very, very good. And you have to go to a place where you can get a maple tree and be real close to it. So it's like straight off of the sap. Yeah, the sap. So there are regional variations. Each region has developed distinct culinary traditions. Maritime provinces are famous for seafood. I'm going to go ahead and throw this stuff in there since the butter is nice and buttery. And then stir this stuff around until it becomes aromatic, which is not that long. I'll take a break from and I'm just stirring this stuff around. I can go ahead and show you what I'm looking at. So just butter, shallots, and garlic, and it smells really good. One of the things that's one of the best smells in the world is when you combine shallots and garlic together. Whew. Any aromatic anything is just onions, garlic, ginger, all of the tasty things. This is just like a fun fact if you're ever stir frying anything. It's called velveting. So if you coat the meat like with a little bit of baking soda and let it kind of marinate for, 30 minutes or so before you cook it, it gets it nice and crispy, like crisps it up. Same thing with wings. So if you're ever making chicken wings or just, I guess, any kind of wings, add a little bit of baking soda to whatever you're making, and it'll crisp it up real nice and well. Fun fact. Not anything having to do with what we're doing right now, but it is there nonetheless. Ooh. Didn't make this into a cologne. I don't know, anytime I'm around this person, I'm always really hungry. That's interesting. If you could pick a scent that you would always smell like, what would you pick? I think I would pick Acqua di Gio by Giorgio Armani, because when I used to wear that cologne, everybody's like, oh my gosh, this smells so good. You smell so good. And back when I was a dum-dum and put way too much on, I'm sure I filled up a room with it. So yeah, this is getting pretty close. And then I'm going to whisk in some flour to make a roux, which is like kind of your basic step that you do when you make gravy. And just put that in there. Just like whisk it all together. And a roux is essentially like a paste that serves as the base for your gravy. So I'll show you how different it looks now. So it has become pastified, and it's very important that you don't overcook aromatics, because if you do, it will taste bitter, which nobody wants. Bitter food that's not supposed to taste bitter is not good. Okay, just go ahead and mix this around for a couple more minutes, and then we essentially deglaze the pan with some vinegar and some stock, and yeah. And with salt, salt's always a tricky thing. I am a firm believer in tasting as you go, but you can always go by what a recipe tells you because somebody's made it before. But I mean, sometimes just blind adding salt when you don't know what it tastes like can make it taste too salty. And sometimes if you don't get, like with this recipe, I opted for like lower sodium versions of this stock because I figured that with the salt on the fries and everything, it was already going to be pretty salty. But yeah, you can kind of decide however you want to do. Some people love salt, and some people say sodium. Oh man, doesn't get better than that, huh? Well, I hope everybody's having a good week. I'm having a great week. Just had some nice quality family time this weekend. The work week is starting off really well, so yeah, I'm just having a good old time. And I do think that there's always something to be said about enjoying the time that you have, because you never know when you don't have it anymore. And every day is fleeting, so just soak it in. Soak it in like this roux is soaking in the flour. Okay, so just let this brown a little bit. That's how you know you've got a good start to the roux, is that it's getting a little bit browned. And again, you don't want to burn it. So it to be a little browned, like a brown bear. Well, it doesn't have to be a bear, but anyway. Okay, this looks good. I'll show you what I'm looking at so you can see. It's looking a little bit brown. We'll go ahead and set you back over here, and then I'll add in the other stuff. So we're just basically going to add in all of the other ingredients now. A little sizzle with that, and then pour in the stock, and then pour in the vinegar, and then put in thyme. I'm a little bummed I couldn't find fresh thyme, but that's okay. And the ketchup, I'm going to use the assistance. Actually, you know what? I could just use the whisk. Even though a whisk is not like the best thing to get ketchup out of a... There we go. Okay. And I just note, I mean, you all already know this, but I do mise en place, so I prepare all this stuff ahead of time. Yeah. So right now I'm just going to whisk this for a little bit, and then it's going to be ready to rock and roll. And I have like this massive cramp in the back of my leg. It's not ideal for recording a video, but it's like real bad. Okay, much better. Yeah, so this is just going to be for, I don't know, bring it to a boil, and just whisk it until it boils. And while we're waiting for that to happen, just want to make sure that it's like real thickened up. You can turn the heat up maybe even a little bit more. I'll read some more facts and information about Canada. Yeah, so maritime provinces are famous for seafood, particularly lobster, scallops, fish, and chips. Quebec, it maintains strong French influences with dishes like poutine, tourtière, I think, which is a meat pie, and then there's also a sugar pie. And the prairie provinces are known for hearty meat dishes and Ukrainian influences like pierogies. And pierogies are really good. I've had pierogies a couple of times. British Columbia emphasizes fresh Pacific seafood and Asian fusion. So British Columbia is a little bit more Asian influenced, Asian fusion. Cultural influences. So Canada's immigration history has created a rich tapestry of culinary traditions. French colonization left lasting impacts, especially in Quebec. British traditions influenced tea time customs and comfort food. More recent waves of immigration have brought Italian, Chinese, Indian, Middle Eastern, and other cuisines that have become integral to Canadian food culture. So, pretty diverse influence. Modern Canadian cuisine. Contemporary Canadian cuisine emphasizes local, seasonal ingredients and often combines traditional techniques with international flavors. Farm-to-table movements are strong, and there is growing appreciation for indigenous ingredients and cooking methods. Dining customs. Canadians generally follow North American dining etiquette. So dinner is the main meal. Family meals are important, and there's a strong culture of hospitality and sharing food with guests. So we'll see a theme from all the countries that we've cooked so far. A lot of family-oriented eating food with guests. Potluck dinners and community gatherings around food are common social activities. And then just to kind of touch on the signature dishes, beyond poutine and maple syrup, distinctly Canadian foods include butter tarts, Nanaimo bars, Nanaimo, N-A-N-A-I-M-O bars, Montreal-style bagels, and I'm not sure what that is, and Caesar cocktails, various regional specialties that reflect local ingredients and cultural influences. So there we go. Some interesting facts about Canadian cuisine. And despite what anybody says, and regardless of your socio-political whatever leanings, I'm a fan of Canada. Canada can stay its own country. They're a unique, independent, great, awesome place. And I've been there one time. And it was when I was I haven't actually been there as far as like spent any meaningful time in the country. I was in Seattle, and we crossed the border into Canada and ate dinner. So that was what I did. But I would love to go to Toronto and Vancouver, Quebec, all of the places. And I'd like to go to Northern Canada at some point, because there's some really beautiful places up there to hike. And I love hiking, so having a little dude has precluded me from taking those kinds of trips because he would not last very long. But someday he'll enjoy and appreciate that. So, okay, this is not quite boiling yet, but key is if you keep whisking, it's actually like a tip for whisking is if you grip it like this, you'll be able to do it for a lot longer. If you grip it like this, like you're holding it like I am, you won't be able to whisk for very long before your arm gets tired. So if you have something where you need to just really continuously go at it, holding it like a baton or something, it helps you. And another thing that I learned in a cooking class is if you're whisking, when you're whisking liquid, it's a little bit different, but if you whisk like Zorro. So if you make a Z, that's actually the way to whisk. You whisk, that's how you actually like stir it up. So anyway, cool, fun times. I don't know much, but I do know some things. This is getting pretty close to boiling. And you have to let it kind of simmer uncovered. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna pop this heat down and I'll show you what I'm looking at. This is what it looks like. Dun, da, da, da. It's a little bubbly. Ooh, I'm so excited. I love French fries. Gravy is delicious. One of my favorite meals is biscuits and gravy, and I make pretty decent biscuits and gravy. So yeah, excited to try this out. Okay, so while that does its thing for a little while, excuse me. Yeah, I'm just gonna set a timer because it'll be easier for me to do it that way. And then I can go ahead and tell you all some jokes. Stir it occasionally, so I'll just leave the whisk in there. Okay, let's go ahead and read some jokes. Jokes. Okay, here we go. This one's a little bit of a doozy, but I'm still going to go for it. A cow's ribs are numbered 1 through 26, but my favorites are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, and 23. I always prefer prime rib. But okay. All right. I quit my job so I could single-handedly rescue every last missing lawn gnome. It's going to be a great voyage of elf discovery. Oh, jeez. My friend ate his autobiography. He is a bit strange and totally full of himself. Do you ever read a joke and you just go, oh my gosh? It takes a lot for me. Maybe I'm being silly and a little bit entertaining, like in the entertaining mode where I laugh, maybe because I'm feeling a little nervous or something. But for me to laugh at something when I'm by myself and there's no influence of someone else's laugh or someone else's reaction to something, it's funny what inspires that. Because sometimes like something that I feel like should be really funny to me is not, and then sometimes things are really, really stupid or really funny to me. Anyway. Okay, we'll do a couple more. I'm starting to think Kit Kat is supposed to be written backwards. Must be a sales tactic. Oh man, that was a little bit of a groaner. Oh, this is good. What are a kidnapper's favorite shoes? White Vans. Ha! Somebody told me if you're getting kidnapped or somebody's like, this is not dinner conversation material probably, but maybe it'll save somebody sometime. That if you were ever getting kidnapped or somebody is attacking you or you're in trouble, you should never shout help. You should always shout fire. And of course, I don't think you can do that in a movie theater and not get in trouble. But I mean, in that situation, if you're feeling threatened or unsafe, you probably don't care that much. So anyway, let's see. Probably could do like one more-ish. When I stopped painting for a while, I found that my works had transformed from landscapes into portraits of a female film icon. Absence makes the art grow fonda. Oh, that was a stretch. Yikes. All right, well, we've got a couple more minutes on the gravy, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop the video because the next stuff is going to require me to get another pot set up. I'm going to cover this so it stays warm, and then I will be back with you all very shortly.